Hello and welcome to Geek It Plays Epic Landscape Tutorials. This is episode number 12 and it is called Western Rocks. We're going to be learning how to create materials for our epic landscapes, specifically layered rocks. So let's begin now by creating a object, just a regular rock. And let's preview it so we can look at it. And this is what an average normal rock in view looks like. And what we want to do is just give our rock a clean slate, so we're going to change the material to the default material. Next, let's name our material, and we'll name this one rock. And we're going to leave it at world standard mapping. And let's modify the color map. And we're just going to start creating some rock colors. We'll start with gray. And then something a little bit more red. So we're basically just adding lots of different colors for our rock. And I'm going to go in and load one that we've already pre-made. It's right here. So you want to have something like this. Okay. Let's right click on color production and edit function. And let's load the color map again because it didn't take, sometimes it just doesn't accept it when you do it right here, so you gotta do it again. Let's delete this constant. And here's our map. And we need to add several nodes. So let's go ahead and add 2 fractal nodes. Right here. Okay. And the first one we're going to set to basic repeater. And then let's also put it at cellular patterns and chipped. Let's set the repeat down to 1, the scale to like 0.5. And let's change the wavelength to 2 on each of the different axes, and that'll give us a better look here. I think that's pretty good, but let's set the mode to blend so it'll give it a smoother look here. Okay. Let's add a combiner and we'll just connect them with a link. And the second node, what we want to do is let's change it to a basic repeater again. And we're going to leave it like this, but we're going to bump up the repeat to 4. And let's set the scale to 0.5 and the amplitude a little bit higher contrast, so we'll about 0.8. Okay. But most importantly on this one we want to set the wavelength X to 30, the Y to 30, and the Z we're going to leave at 1. And that will give us a nice layered look. And if we double click on this, we can look and see how our color map is being applied here, and I think it looks really nice. Let's click on this link and add a filter right here, and edit filter, and we're just going to change this to make the colors a little bit more distinct. And something like this. And you can see it in this little window down here what it's doing to it. Okay, so this is what it does. It just brings out some more of those darker colors. Now let's change the combination mode to add, and then let's decrease the ratio. Okay, let's go to the bump tab and add a combiner, and let's also add a fractal node, and let's copy the noise node and we'll paste it right here. And then let's connect the blender with links. Okay, let's go to our fractal node and increase the amplitude, and that will just sharpen it up like this. And let's increase the repeat and move down the scale a little bit. It'll give us a rougher look. And we're going to do the same thing to this node. So they're going to be quite similar on our nodes here. Let's go back to the bump tab and let's click on our blender. Whoops. Okay, and then we're going to increase the ratio. And you'll notice the combination mode is already set to add. Okay, something like that. Click OK. And this is what we have, a rough, colorful material here. Let's go to the bump tab and drop the depth, and that will make it a little bit smoother. And this is our basic kind of a rock. Maybe it's a sedimentary type rock and it was under the ocean and the waves have created this nice texture right here. And it has deposited some iron and gives it that nice rust color. So this is our base, so let's add another layer. Go to the color in alpha and edit color map, and we'll load Western Rock 2. That's pre-made, looks like this. Okay, and then let's edit function and load the color again in this area. Okay, now let's delete the constant. Next, let's go ahead and add a fractal node to this. Okay, and then link that to the filter. Raise the roughness and gain and decrease the largest feature a little bit. Okay, that gives us a nicer color here. Let's go to the bump and let's create a noise node, and let's move the scale down, way down to like 1. It'll give us just a nice small noise. Let's add a blender and then add another fractal node here and link that to our blender. And we're going to leave the fractal the same and then click OK. Next we're going to increase the alpha boost, and you can see how the materials are overlaying here. Let's decrease the depth of this a bit and increase the underlaying bumps. So this is a nice overlay, but what's happening is we can't see what's underneath this layer very well. So we're going to name this one gravel, and then let's fix that by going to transparency and setting the global transparency. Let's delete this constant and let's add a noise node, and we're going to set it to Baroni, and let's put a filter and let's edit the filter. We want to increase the contrast right here. Okay, and you notice how the colors are showing through now. So let's add another filter here and let's choose opposite. Okay, so it brings out some of it but not all of it. And we can increase the alpha boost and mix it until we get a good balance. Okay, let's click this arrow and let's edit this a little bit more, edit the filter. We want it to look more like this, okay? And you can see how that's applying here. So you can blend it a little bit better that way. And you can see what we've added is applying nicely right here. Let's go ahead and add another layer. Okay, and then go to color in alpha, and second thought, let's edit the functions. Delete the constant. And let's load a color map. And we're going to go up here and choose plants and dry grass. And you can see that this is a simple 3-color map that's been preset. Okay? And now that we have added our grass, let's add a noise node right here. And scale it down to 1 so we'll have a fine texture, and that's how it kind of mixes. And let's go down and switch it to other patterns and granite, and that will give us sharper dots, higher contrast. Let's go to our bump tab. We're going to add a blender, and then go ahead and add 2 noise nodes to this. Just like that. Just 2. There we go. And let's combine them with the link. Let's just choose one of them and increase the scale on it. And let's combine them. Let's click on bump. And then if you look here, there's a nice combination. Let's go ahead and click on add in the combination mode. Okay, that's looking nice. Let's go up to our highlights. Let's link our highlights to the blender. Okay, and go to the highlights and edit color. And this is going to be our grass highlight here. Okay. Let's adjust the alpha boost here. And we don't want the grass to be applied to everywhere, so we're going to go to the transparency, click on the global transparency, and we're going to replace this with a fractal node. Increase the roughness and gain, decrease the largest feature. And click OK. And increase the alpha boost a bit, and you can see the patches of grass here. Let's go to environment and set the altitude range just to the bottom. Okay, so it's just right through here. Let's go back to our transparency and edit it, and you can adjust more or less of the grass here. Okay. Next, let's go ahead and name this dry grass. This will distinguish which layer we're using. So let's add another layer. And this one we're actually going to do, so let's go to Color and Alpha, right click and edit color map, double click here, and add a color and a value. And this is going to be our sand layer, so we're going to add something like this. And right here is where we add the different colors, and you can add as many as you want. To add one color is nice, but you can add many different colors and it creates a nicer, more detailed look. Okay, so let's cancel our constant and add a noise node and link the bump to the noise, and that's all we have to do here. Okay, next let's adjust our alpha boost, and this is how we manage how much or how little we want applied. Okay, that looks good. Let's go ahead and name this one Color Sand. Also, this isn't really necessary. You could just leave them without it, but when you have all these layers, it helps if you have to modify one. You can tell which one you're working with. Okay. Also, let's increase the layer bumps. Okay. And that just blends a little bit better. Okay. And if you want to, let's go back to the transparency and add a noise to our transparency and scale it down a bit. Click OK. And that gives it a little bit more interesting roughness. So it's almost like a cake. You just add layer after layer and it just makes it better. I'm just going to add one more layer, okay? And this is going to be the topsoil layer, and it's okay to have just rocks, but it gives it more detail if you add another sandy layer. So let's edit color map, and we're just going to change this to a sandier color and make it darker, okay? And we'll do the same thing over here, only we're going to use a little bit grayer color, okay? And this is our color map. So let's edit function and get rid of our constant. Let's add a noise node connected to the filter, scale it down, and connect the bump. Okay, let's adjust the alpha boost. And click on bumps and decrease the depth. In environment, let's go all the way to the top. We're going to just set it only on the top. And then maybe just a little bit on the fuzziness, so the edge won't be so sharp. Okay, let's go back to transparency and edit this. Let's get rid of the constant. And we don't want to have any sharp edges, so let's add a fractal node here. And increase the roughness and gain. Decrease the largest feature. Okay, and let's adjust the alpha boost. There we go. And decrease the scale so it'll give a finer sand. And go to environment, and we're just going to do our final adjusting here. Okay, so it'll be applied only to the top. Let's go to our transparency, and this is a little bit too much, so let's decrease it. Okay, that's a little bit better. Okay, let's go and call this the top sand. Okay, let's make sure that all of our layers have a world standard mapping set, and they all do. So next, let's go ahead and name our rock. Let's call it Western Rock. And let's preview what we have. We'll just take a second and let it render. And here we have our rock. And you can see how the different layers have applied, and it has a nice reddish color with the sand and the weeds. It looks very interesting. Let's go ahead and save it. And we need to click on the Western Rock, because if we click on one of the others, it will save just that layer. So we'll save that. And let's call it Western Rock number 4. Okay. Let's save that. Okay. And let's go ahead and delete that. And we're going to create a landscape using our material. So we're going to need a terrain. And we have this nice western looking mountain. Let's rotate it and just get the best side. Okay. We're just going to create a little mountain here. Now right click and edit object, and let's increase the resolution to 1024 by 1024. Let's select our ground, and we're going to add a material. And let's load the material we created. And let's also apply it to the mountain. Okay. And let's preview it. And because we applied multiple layers to our material, we can use this material for a basic ground, or a terrain, or a rock, and it doesn't matter, it will apply nicely. And we'll show you the rock in just a minute. And you'll notice how they'll universally apply to anywhere. And you know, if you say, okay, I need this to be a little bit more red, it is simply a matter of going into your terrain and selecting which layer and just adjusting it a little bit. Okay. So it's easily manipulated. Okay. And let's go ahead and add a rock. Okay. I just want to quickly show you how that little adjustment changed the material. So we're going to load our material to the rock. Okay. Let's go ahead and render this. And let's click on Final and make this our final preview. And here we have our final rendering. And because we spent the time to make an intricate material with complex layers, it will apply as well on big mountains, single rocks, or flat terrain, and it will all match very well. And even though it takes time to prepare nice materials, it's going to show in your final product, so it's worth it to spend the time. And I hope that learning how to create materials will enrich your creations. Thank you for watching this tutorial by Geek at Play Studio. And I'd like to invite you to visit us on the web at www.geekatplay.com.